Yo, what's up, guys? Everyone, today, man, we're talking about GoodFellas 34 and a half years later. GoodFellas came out September 14th, 1990, and I'm here reviewing this on April 5th, 2025. It is genuinely insane. I know I'm extremely late, but better late than never. Am I right? Or am I right? Alright, let's get into it. So, GoodFellas, as The Sopranos, not a stan. I'm not a stan of anything. As a The Sopranos absolute fan, the influence that show had coming from GoodFellas into that is insane. Shout out to GoodFellas. The amount of love that I have for that show, a lot of that influence, I did some research prior to making the video as well, because I was like, the resemblance is uncanny. The influence seems uncanny. Well, it was. They got massive influence from GoodFellas into The Sopranos. It came out, 1999? So overall, I give The Sopranos, not The Sopranos, overall, I give GoodFellas a 9.5 out of 10. Really good movie. It was very jam-packed. It was very meaty. It was just a lot to get into, a lot to decipher, so I'm gonna try my best to get into it. So the opening scene was very vulgar. They talk about popping people, obviously The Sopranos vibes. It's mafia, it's mob boss, a lot of people getting popped. It's slanging this and slanging that. It's having multiple women. It's having a lot of money. It's towing the line between, am I gonna get caught? Do I care because I'm making this much money? Having so much money that it's like unfathomable. So much to the point pack that I don't even know what to do with this. So I'm just living life. I'm on top of the world. Nobody can mess with me. And then all of a sudden, boom! It can all go away. It can all go away. Henry was the main character of this. This was a really good movie overall. Shout out to Henry. My bad, I'm kind of forgetting. I know his first name was Ray, but shout out to bro. What was his name? I always heard a good amount about him. Ray Liotta. R.I.P. to him. There's another sad thing about going through these old movies is I'm looking through these particular actors and actresses, and unfortunately they're just no longer with us. Like the legendary Ray Liotta, a couple people as well, like Paulie from The Sopranos, who was Tony for a scene in GoodFellas. He was in this. RP to him. It's just absolutely insane. It's also insane. I'm realizing in this now as a massive football fan. One of the characters' name in the movie is Tommy DeVito, Tommy Cutlets, the Giants quarterbacks. It's insane. So I guess he got named basically after that. Are they related? No, because this is a fake name, obviously, but let's get back into it. So Henry was living a mafia life literally from 13 on. His parents and his mom thought, oh, he's working at the cap stand. No, he's working for the mafia. He's motion man. He has the motion. And then he was going on his two-man with one of his boys that were also in the mafia, and he just wanted to go. His boy just wanted to go on a one-on-one date, but the girl was like, "No, I don't want to be solo with an Italian." So she brought her friend over, and then Henry was with all of them, so it was 4 people. Double dates, but Henry really wasn't showing Karen any attention. He really just wanted to get the check and get out of there. He had something to get to, and he was just not feeling it. So they go on another date. They were supposed to go on another date, but Henry ends up flaking. He ends up not showing up. Karen ends up crying. She obviously feels stood up because she was stood up. She goes with I forgot who it was that drove her there as well, to go to where Henry was staying at, and then they found him, and then they end up Karen ends up screaming at Henry, and they get into it, and then you see some tension, some sexual tension. I'm like, y'all are some freaks. So they end up going back and forth. They end up somehow ended up on great terms, and all of a sudden, a couple minutes into the movie, they're married. They making all this money from the Everybody in the mafia is giving them money in this cards and they're dancing. And then a couple minutes later, they have kids. They have a kid, they have another kid. And then in the end, they're all grown up. The timeline is insane. The relationship timeline is absolutely insane. Go from being stood up to being married to having not one but multiple children. It's just an insane timeline. Also, the Coke mastermind was insane because that was behind Paulie's back. Paulie, not the Paulie from The Sopranos, he's actually naming his was like Tony Stack or something around that nature. This is a different Paulie. He's like Paul Sorico. And he was, wait, hold on. Paul Sorico, hold on. I thought I just thought of something. Okay, I was like, is Paulie from GoodFellas related to Paulie from The Sopranos? He wasn't, but thankfully I just had to check that out just in case for my mental sanity. But let's move on. So Paulie was basically the boss for Henry. He was showing him the ropes. He was doing this, that, and the third, and he just didn't want Henry to be slanging. And Henry ends up getting some stuff down the line in the movie and ends up getting put in a slammer. He was wrong place, wrong time. They messed with the wrong people. Their like relative that they messed with was a cop, and she ratted them all out. And they all had like 10-year prison sentences, and then somehow Henry only got out on 4. And then Paulie's like, hey, anybody that you see slanging, hey, your business, you did in jail, that's all you. Now that you're out of jail, I need you to cut that out. And Henry was like, of course. Bro was capping. He did not cut that out. He ends up having this insane mastermind with Karen, his wife, with Lois, the babysitter, with oh my god, what was her name? With Sandy. I'm not gonna lie, Sandy was some fine shit. Shout out to Sandy for show. He was messing with Sandy in Pittsburgh because that was where the connects were. So he would drive to Pittsburgh and get that coke from there, and then he had all this elaborate plan, and Sandy was making in her house, and he would come over. Sometimes it'd be like a one-night stand, sometimes he would maybe like sleep over. He would just hit it and quit it and dip out. And then somehow Karen, at least to my knowledge, didn't know. I mean, she knew about his other mistress, which was Janice, and she ended up pulling up to her house with her 2 kids on the intercom, banging on the door, yelling out about how Janice was cheating on Janice was with a married man, and yelling all that out throughout the whole entire hallways and on the intercom, and their kids just sitting there right there beside her, just absolutely frying me. Just an insane mastermind plan though. Moral of the story, it's all good things must come to an end. Henry's on top of the world. He was making so much money. He had Karen, he had the kids, he had multiple side pieces, he had extra money coming from the coke. He went to jail, fast forward, gets out 4 years later. Karen's right there like nothing happened, like she didn't know that what was going on. And even Janice went to visit Henry in jail as well, and she's still by his side. He ends up putting hands on her. He ends up gaslighting her. That ends up working, and I'm just sitting there like, some people really just are in a trance at the end of the day. Some people just are in a trance. They just thrive and they live and they love toxicity. They just absolutely cannot get enough of toxicity. I finally saw the classic scene with Henry and Ray Liotta. The classic laughing scenes. It sounded like it was uncontrollably. I don't think I've ever heard the audio of that. I've just seen the GIF, and the GIF is absolutely hysterical. The amount of time I see that clip on Twitter of him just laughing uncontrollably, and it's just like, that's a classic GIF. And the fact that I finally saw it in action, that longevity from 1990 to 2025, phenomenal, absolutely phenomenal. Again, the relationship timeline with Karen, who they go out, he ends up driving her. By the way, she first sees him. I don't think she knows what he does, but he has the most insane motion of all time. He cuts the line. He goes to the dinner, like the side door. He doesn't have to go in the line. They bring him a whole entire table. They give him drinks on the house. he's motion, man. He has all the motion. He has everything there. So she's like, what do you do? And he's like, I'm working construction. And she felt his hand, just like, I don't think you work construction. And then I don't know, went off from there. But Jesus Christ, that was absolutely hysterical. And then he just ends up, like I said, gaslighting Karen in the relationship when he cheated, and he's making her feel bad when he was the culprit. And then she ends up staying with him, which again, I just don't understand. By the point they had multiple kids, and she probably knew so much about it that it was probably more safe for her if she just ended up staying. But it was absolutely absurd. It was just absolutely absurd. This man Tommy has to be one of the most insane Hall of Fame crash outs, menace to societies. I mean, he was joking with people. Like, he was even joking with Henry, and Henry's like, you're so funny. And he's like, what you mean I'm so funny? What you mean I'm so funny? But he ends up saying that it was a joke. I don't know if that was a joke from Tommy. He does a Hall of Fame crash out, and we see throughout the movie he crashes out even more on multiple people, including Billy, who just got back, I think, from jail. And it's just like his welcome back party or welcome home party, and he goes ahead and busting his balls, joking, and Tommy gets his back turned and ends up going to town and just like beating him to a pulp with multiple men, and then they have to like get a shovel from Tommy's mom's house, and he hasn't seen her in a while, and then they'll go there, and like 3 people there, including Henry, and then her mom and his mom's like, what you guys doing there? And he's like, I can't go to sleep now. Tommy's home for the first time in a while. I gotta stay up. And then I don't know if they slept the night, but they ended up, I think, eating breakfast there or whatever it was at that time. I don't know. They didn't really show like the time frame, so who knows if that was like a late dinner or early breakfast or whatever it was. But let's just say they spent some additional time with Tommy's mom as well before I guess they went to do the thing. A lot of things were in Henry's trunk of his car, which just, I guess, smelled awful. He said that it smelled like a skunk because Karen and his kids smelled it, and it was just absurd. And then they had to go ahead and get, I think his name was also Bats's body, because they had to change it because Bats's crew was going into their location. They had to make sure everything was scrubbed clean, and Henry ends up vomiting. It's just probably a revolting smell. And they go ahead and clean that up and move it to another place. But it was just absolutely just insane, absurd, just absolutely insane. And then Spider went out bad. Spider, aka I gotta get into this as well. The Sopranos, they had 27 characters from The Sopranos were in this movie, GoodFellas, including Christopher Moltisanti. He was Spider, and Spider was, he was handling the drinks at the bar. And he was go back and forth with Tommy, and then Tommy popped him in the leg, and then he ends up getting this kind of like bandaging on his leg because he shot him in the leg multiple times, and then he's busting Tommy's balls. He's like, kind of throws a shot on him, and then Tommy comes out, and the bro beside him was kind of like instigating, and Tommy, he got no chill. He got no chill at all, and then he ends up just just pops Spider, and Spider is no longer with us. Spider's no longer with us. And then, like I mentioned earlier, they went to the troll prison. It felt like a troll prison, but I guess it was a real prison. It just had some connects where they had good parts of the prison, which it didn't look awfully bad, but I guess they were in a real prison. It just had certain parts that didn't look too bad. Jimmy might be him for that $6 million heist on, I forgot how you pronounce it, Lufthansa at the the bank. $6 million. They go out spending lavishly, and he just doesn't want to pay Maury, who already owed him, was making commercials, things of that nature. Maury, this man just was a professional yapper. This man did not know how to stop talking. He continuously kept asking Jimmy for his cut because he said that he played a big part in getting that heist done. he didn't get that bad. He ends up getting popped, obviously, with a knife. Now he's sitting in the front of the car. He's thinking, oh, I'm chilling. He was not chilling. He was not chilling at all. And also stacks got packed. He was supposed to hide the car and some other things as well. But he ends up getting popped as well. He was just getting ready for his morning coffee. They came over and bop, bop, bop. That man was in an absolute pack, but he was slacking. He got high. He was at his girlfriend's house and slept through like 11:30 and supposed to be up at like 9 and trolling as usual for stacks. Maury got played like a fiddle. Maury got played like an absolute fiddle. They talked themselves out of popping him, and then they popped him out of nowhere. And then they said, let's chop him up. Fucking tears. Classic line as well from the narrator, who obviously is Henry. We were good fellas, wise guys. That was tough. And then Tommy finally gets, finally, man! Tommy finally gets packed at the end. He gets whacked for an eye because he obviously popped Billy Bats, who was untouchable because he was a made man. Right before Tommy was gonna be made, and what's his name was super excited. Jimmy was super excited. Tommy gets packed, and they end up calling him and be like, oh, something happened, I didn't mean to do this, but we had to do it. No, Tommy was ready to get made out of nowhere. Pop, pop, pop. In a pack, in a spliff. That boy was absolutely cooked. Henry, you menace to society. He had Karen, Sandy, Janice, probably did something with Lois, the babysitter, as well. I'm not gonna lie. Shout out to my GOAT, Jennifer Melfi from The Sopranos, obviously the therapist for Tony Soprano. That's some fine. Hey, shout out to her for sure. Really great actress. And Sandy as well. I'm not gonna lie, Sandy. Ooh. Sandy was some fine. And Janice, I also looked this up as well right before I made this video. RP to Janice, the actress. GoodFellas, she unfortunately did pass away, I think, at like 39 years old. So my condolences to Janice. I know this is so late, but Janice from GoodFellas. RIP to Gina. Mastro Giacomo died in May 2nd, 2001. I wasn't even born yet. I was born in August of 2002. She was unfortunately passed away at 39 years old due to a bacterial heart infection. So rest in peace to Gina Mastro Giacomo, aka Janice Rossi from GoodFellas. So many of the Sopranos characters, like I said, were in GoodFellas. 27 overall. Like Paulie from The Sopranos, Melfi, like I just mentioned, and also Christopher Moltisanti, like I mentioned as well. At the end of the movie as well, the helicopter bus was absolutely absurd, where they go ahead and follow Henry in the helicopters over like a month, reading everything that he's been doing, listening to his phone calls. They have like a kind of like a wiretap on him as well. Ends up busting him, and then they end up getting him maybe in the like witness protection program with him and his wife Karen, and I don't know what happens with the kids and the parents of them as well, but he ends up becoming a rat, ratting on people like Jimmy, like Paulie, other people as well. And that was the end. At the end of the day, he was a normal man living in God knows where. Nobody know who he was, and he said himself he was a schmuck. So at the end of the day, yeah. So before I end it off, let me just go ahead and look at show you guys this as well. Every character from The Sopranos that was in GoodFellas as well. So let's just get into it. Melfi was Karen Hill. Christopher Moltisanti was Spider. Paulie Gualtieri was Tony Stacks. Major Zwingli was the unnamed parole officer. Phil Leotardo was Billy Bats. Salvatore Bontaspero was the man with the coat rack. Carmela's mother, funny enough, was Karen's mother in this show and in this movie. Uncle Pat Blundetto was the mob lawyer. Larry Boy Baris was Sonny Bruz. Carmen Lupertazzi Sr. was Frankie the Wop. FBI Chief Frank Kubitisov was Johnny Dio. Shlomo Titelman was Morris Kessler. Beansy Galleta was the dealer. Barbara Soprano Giglione was Carbone's girlfriend. Joanne Moltisanti was Tootie's wife. Faustino Doc Santoro was Dr. Dan. Helen Barone was Cicero's wife. Joan Gillespie was Susan. Guest number 1 was Anthony Stabile. Joanne Moltisanti was Joe Buddha's wife. Joe was part of Henry's 60th crew, as well as the Raider part of that crew as well. As also Buddha being custom was also part of Henry's 60th crew as well. Bobby Zanone was a prize fighter in Bobby Zanone, who was in The Sopranos, was a prize fighter in Goodfellas. The prison guard from Goodfellas was the police officer in The Sopranos. Martin Scorsese, the role, not the person, because he obviously directed a movie, played the role of Martin Scorsese in The Sopranos, in Goodfellas, this time around, with the truck hijacker. Last but not least, a member of part of Baptist crew, John Chacha Ciarsara, or Ciarcia, or Ciarcia, a member of Baptist crew in Goodfellas, was Albie Cianflone in The Sopranos. So yeah. Overall, like I said, I give Goodfellas a 9.5 out of 10. Would definitely recommend, but it has been, 34.5 years, so by now, you probably watch this movie, and you're probably not like me, but if you aren't like me, well, there's a spoiler of absolute hell, but it is what it is. It is what it is. But other than that, y'all, that is the video. Make sure to go down below, drop a like, comment down below, sub up. Make sure to follow me on Twitch, Twitter, and TikTok. It's your boy John. Hopefully you guys did enjoy the video, and I'm out, man. Peace.